Hello, sweethearts. How are you all? I wish you all are fine. Must be little bored, missing school. Don't worry, all will be fine and we'll meet soon. But till then, let's enjoy here. समय 10 से 12 वाला हर घर पाठशाला. Sweethearts, today we will start with Nelson Mandela, lesson 2, A Long Walk to Freedom. Kiddies, remember the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi ji? Okay. What comes to your mind when we think of Gandhiji? I know you want to say, ma'am, freedom, struggle, sacrifice, movements, rallies, freedom fighters, ahimsa, right? Uh, Here, I want you all to connect Mandela with Gandhiji. Buddies, Nelson Mandela, we can say, is the Mahatma Gandhi of South Africa. He too, like Gandhiji, fought for the rights of his people against whites in South Africa. He spent almost 27 years of his life in prison. See, 27 years of his life in prison. He fought against the policy of apartheid, which means the discrimination between people on the basis of their race and color. Yeah, how could somebody do this, hating each other, and that too on the basis of color? Anyway, Mandela took the lead and fought against it and became the first black president of South Africa on 10th May 1994. Children, let's start the lesson with an activity which is already given in your book on page number 7. It is that in column A, there are some expressions you will find in the text, and you have to make a guess and match each expression with an appropriate meaning from the column B. So I just want to say that I'll give you the meanings of some words in column A. Rest, you take time and then try to match them in the column B. And later in the activity we will discuss later in the later videos or classes we'll discuss this. So the first one is a rainbow gathering of different colors and nations. A rainbow, you all know, various colors, different colors. So here rainbow gathering of different color means that people of different nation, of different colors and different races, right? Now you'll have to find an expression which matches with this particular expression. In column B you have to find that. Then the next one is the seat of white supremacy. White supremacy means the center of racial superiority. And the third one is overwhelmed with sense of history. Overwhelmed means extremely happy. Then next one is resilience that defies the imagination. Here you just need to understand, I'll just give you the meaning of the word resilience, which means it's a kind of ability to recover from obstacles. And next is the glimmer of humanity. Glimmer here means the shine. And the last one is the twilight existence. Twilight means it's the time after sunset, but not completely dark. So I've just given you the clues of some of the expressions in column A, and now I want you people to just find out and look for the expressions. You have to match them with the expressions in column B. 10th May dawned bright and clear. 10th May. 10th May is the date on which Mr. Nelson Mandela took oath as the first black president of South Africa. So dawn here means the morning time, or it's a time when it begins to grow light. And 10th May was very bright and clear. For the past few days, I had been pleasantly besieged by the dignitaries and world leaders who were coming to pay their respects before the inauguration. Children, since it's an autobiography means the story of a person's life written by that person himself. You know autograph? What is an autograph? Autograph is your initials, your signature, which you do yourself. So similarly, this is an autobiography. An autobiography is the the story of a person's life written by that particular person himself. So, A Long Walk to Freedom is Nelson Mandela's autobiography. So wherever wherever I will come in the text, it refers to Nelson Mandela. So he says that I had been pleasantly besieged. Pleasantly means happily being surrounded by people. People means important people, dignitaries here. Dignitaries means important people across the world who were coming to pay their respects before the inauguration. And what inauguration? Inauguration means the start of a ceremony, the beginning of something, the beginning of an occasion. So for that particular occasion of the swearing in ceremony of Mr. Nelson Mandela as the first black president of South Africa. The inauguration would be the largest gathering ever of international leaders on South African soil. Gathering, I hope you know, gathering means large number of people coming together. The ceremonies took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheater formed by the Union buildings in Pretoria. For decades, this had been the seat of white supremacy, and now it was the site of a rainbow gathering of different colors and nations for the installation of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government. The ceremonies here means the ceremonies of the establishment of democratic rule in South Africa. And these particular ceremonies, they took place in the place called Pretoria. And where exactly? The Sandstone Amphitheater. And what's Sandstone Amphitheater? Sandstone Amphitheater is an open-air theater where all these ceremonies took place. The ceremonies of establishment of non-racial government in South Africa. This place, South Africa, for decades had been the seat of white supremacy. And now it was the site of rainbow gathering of different colors and nations. Because people from different countries, the dignitaries, the important people from various countries, they've come to South Africa to be the part of the ceremonies which took place in Pretoria for the establishment of the democratic non-racial government. On that lovely autumn day, I was accompanied by my daughter Zenani. On the podium, Mr. de Klerk was first sworn in as the second deputy president. Then Thabo Mbeki was sworn in as first deputy president. When it was my turn, I pledged to obey and uphold the Constitution and to devote myself to the well-being of the Republic and its people. To the assembled guests and the watching world, I say, in this particular paragraph, Mr. Nelson Mandela is talking about the day 10th May, the day of the establishment of non-racial government in South Africa. And he's saying the lovely autumn day. Children in South Africa is in southern hemisphere, and in southern hemisphere the months from March to May are autumn months, and in northern hemisphere March to May they are generally spring. So he says that lovely autumn day on which day? On 10th May. He was being accompanied to the podium. And what is a podium? Podium is a raised place or an area where a person stands to speak. And what Nelson Mandela wants to speak on that particular day? He was being sworn in as the first black president. So obviously he was going to address the people there. So he was being accompanied to the stage, or let's say podium, by his daughter Zenani, where he further says that Mr. de Klerk was first sworn in as the deputy president. Deputy means the second important. So he was sworn in. Sworn comes from the word swear. And swear means to make promise. Right? We swear. So promise making. So he was being sworn in as the second deputy president, Mr. de Klerk. And then Thabo Mbeki. He was sworn in as the first deputy president of South Africa. And further he says that when it was his turn, he says that I pledged to obey. I pledge to obey and uphold the Constitution. Pledge means he made a serious promise. Nelson Mandela made a very serious promise to the people of his country that he would obey to the Constitution. Now, the word Constitution simply means rules, laws and rules of a country. So, and again, the Constitution comes from the word constitute. And constitute is a verb. Similarly, in the previous paragraph also, we come across the words like inauguration, which comes from the word inaugurate. So inaugurate is verb, and when we add suffixes to the verbs like TION, SION, MENT, SENCE, so they become noun forms. These are the noun forms. So constitution is a noun word. So he says that I will obey, I will promise to uphold the Constitution, the rules and the regulations of my country, and will devote myself, will give all my time and resources to my people, being republic. So to the assembled guests he further said something. And what did he say to the people? That today all of us, by our presence here, confer glory and hope to the newborn liberty. Out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster that lasted too long must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud. We who were outlaws not so long have today been given the rare privilege to be the host to the nations of the world on our own soil. We thank all our distinguished international guests for having come to take position with the people of our country on what is, after all, a common victory for justice, for peace, for human dignity. We have at last achieved our political emancipation. We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender, and other discrimination. Never, never, and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. Let freedom reign. God bless Africa. During his presidential address, Nelson Mandela talks about the oppression of blacks by whites for over 300 years. And he termed it as an extraordinary human disaster. And that extraordinary human disaster means that people were being treated badly. They were not given proper rights. People hating each other on the basis of color. And that is called the policy of apartheid. So here in this particular address, he says that we who were considered outlaws not so long. Outlaws here means that blacks of South Africa have been called outlaws because they were segregated. They were differentiated. They were treated badly like criminals because of its policy of apartheid. And many countries had earlier, they have broken off the diplomatic relations with South Africa because of this policy of apartheid. So today, Mr. Nelson Mandela, during his address, he says, "Sir, I feel privileged to be the host to the nations of the world in our own country." And he further thanks the people, the distinguished guests, those who have come to be the part of the ceremony. And he further says that it is the victory, the establishment of non-racial government in South Africa it's a common victory for justice. It's a victory of peace. It's victory for human dignity. Nelson Mandela pledges the South African Republic that they'll liberate all their people from the bondage of poverty, hunger, suffering, and all kinds of discrimination. And nobody will be oppressed in his country. Nobody will oppress one another. And the sun will never set so glorious as on human dignity or human achievement as it has happened today. So let freedom reign and God bless Africa. He says that finally South Africa has achieved political emancipation, freedom from restrictions. People are not deprived now. They are having all equal rightful benefits. There will be no discrimination